I'm Danny, and this is the Scream Princess podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Scream Princess podcast. As always, I'm Danny, and I am joined today by my friend. We've worked together, Andrew Elias from Ciao. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you, Danny?
Good. I'm very well, thank you. It's a bit. I got my blanket though because it's very cold in the northeast.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I'm feeling the cold
Yeah.
down here in the south, so I would imagine what it must be like up there.
Yeah, like 10 degrees colder. I don't know if it's actually 10, it's probably about 5, but it feels
Yeah.
like 10. So,
Have you had snow?
yes, a few weeks ago we had snow.
Yeah, great. I mean, good snow in terms of you could still go and do stuff, or bad
Yeah,
snow
I
for
mean,
you?
I didn't go very far because they don't grip my road, so you can't really go out in the car unless unless you have to. I don't have to. But I'm
Yeah,
only a 5 minute walk from the beach, and we've got like beautiful cliff top walks. So we did kind of walk along to the beach in the snow, which was lovely.
brilliant.
So, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. I mean, I think the beach in the snow is great because
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
I,
it
I live
doesn't
by the
settle
beach.
properly on the sand because of the
Yeah.
salt, but towards the edge it did, and the cliff tops were snow. And actually, there's a video. I think we both put our feet in it, and it was literally about that deep.
Wow.
So yeah, we got quite a bit.
Yeah. And I've noticed there, have you got like new cushions or like lights and stuff?
I've been adding, and I've just changed this room around. So the sofa bed was facing that way before, and I've
Yeah.
just got a new wardrobe because this is like my photo shoot room as well. And I had boxes, plastic tubs piled with costume, just piled in the corner and it looked really messy. So I've just gotten a 1970s wardrobe and dressing table to put in here, which means I've put all the clothes away. I've had to rearrange the room. So did you hear that crash? That was a cat jumping off the wardrobe.
That was it.
So yeah, I mean, I think I've just moved cushions around. I think some of the lights above me are new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you use the room for self-tapes and stuff as well? Is it kind of like your all-purpose
Yeah,
filming
so
room?
I've got three bedrooms. Obviously, I sleep in one of them. This one, obviously, got the sofa bed, which in case anybody visits, but also for podcasting.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a white wall, which I shoot most of my photos on, and any self-tapes. And then I've got a green screen, which is yet to be used. I've been here over a
Huh.
year now, and I haven't needed it. But I've painted one of the walls green just because it's handy. But I might be starting a little job soon, presenting some competition stuff for a friend's site. And actually, I'll need the green screen. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So, and then obviously the wardrobe and the dressing table. Now I've got a little 1970s set. So it's kind of, yeah, an all-purpose room. And then the
Yeah.
other bedroom is my holistic stuff. So that's got like all my witchy bits and pieces and crystals and like bells and things.
Brilliant. So
So,
that's
yes.
yeah, no, that's great. It's great to have multiple spaces that you can
Yeah.
use for different things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. It is good. So I can't remember when I last saw you.
Well, I
Um,
was thinking about this. I thought it's got to be a horror film festival, isn't it?
it's probably Horror on Sea or Romford last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I was
must
at, I
be.
think last year I can't remember if I was at the Romford Horror Festival or just the regular Romford Festival.
Yeah, they
And I
kind
tell
of
you what,
blend in, don't they?
yeah, my,
Or
my
maybe it was
memory is
horror.
so bad.
Maybe it was Horror on Sea then, because then I didn't do
Yeah.
Dark Fest and I haven't done any of the other ones, and I didn't do Horror on Sea this year, which is like the first year in so long that I haven't been there.
Yeah, I think you were missed, I think
Oh.
your presence there was missed.
Well, but I narrated the documentary, so I was there in spirit, and I'm sure there was
Yeah.
cardboard cutouts.
There definitely was, yeah, in the video shop. Yeah.
I
Of
know
various sizes.
there's one in Romford now at the at Lumiere, and my friend lives in Romford, and her daughter. I mean, I bought her daughter a unicorn like cuddly toy when she was a baby, and she's now I don't know how old she is. I think girls now they seem much older than they are, but I think she's like 10, 11, but she's a proper little diva, and they take her to that cinema, and every time she has a chat to the cardboard Danny. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess, you're always there for her.
I'm always there for her, even though I am now far away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a long time ago.
Well, I'm
So
guessing traveling down now to kind of Romford South End and everything's a bit more of a chore than it was when you were living down in London.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I was in London, I was close by, and I came down last year, and I think I was in a few films last year, but I haven't really done much in the last year. I shot one movie last year, and it was a straight to DVD thing, so they didn't put it into festivals or anything. They already had the distribution deal set up, so I wasn't in anything in horror honestly this year. So
Yeah.
I probably need to make some movies so I can come back next year.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, do it yourself. That's
Yeah,
it, isn't it? Just write your own stuff,
yeah, I've got some
film your own
ideas.
stuff.
I've got ideas.
Yeah,
Putting them
and
into
people are
yeah.
always jumping to help you out as well. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I've actually already spoken to Kamal, so somebody else that we both work with. I was like, Kamal, I've
yeah,
got an idea.
yeah. Well, he's an absolute diamond geezer, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
a
We
jack of
actually
all
shot,
trades.
we actually shot Hunger in this room.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so it was before the furniture was in here. I think there was a different sofa. I'd only just moved in. I think I'd only been here, I don't know, not probably not even a month. And so I think there was a different sofa in the background. Um, And yeah, there was boxes and things everywhere. So that this was also that room.
Yeah, and I mean he's prolific, isn't he, Kamal? He just gets everywhere. He
Yeah.
gets to North Wales, he gets to London and the surrounding areas, and then he'll
Mm.
go up north as well. And he was doing all that
Yeah.
stuff with Dean of the Dead. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean he's just a kind of master of all trades, not a jack of all trades.
Yeah. I don't know how he
He can
fits it all
direct.
into a schedule, but
Oh,
somehow
yeah, the man's like he's like a Duracell
he's,
battery
he's always
filled
like he
bunny,
actually
isn't he?
drove up here. So I don't think he's quite so far because I think he's north of London. So I think it was probably about 4 hours for him or something. He drove up here. And he said, I'll pop to yours. So I put him in a hotel next to the beach, but he actually popped over to like see the space so he could kind of work things out in his head overnight. And then the next morning I said, I was thinking we'll get some exterior stuff. And he was like, I've already shot it. Did it yesterday. And I was like, oh, when? He was like, when I left because it was still daylight because it was the summer. I'm like, oh, well done.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. Who needs a
Yeah.
storyboard, a shot list when you got come out?
Yeah, I know. It's all in his mind. And I think as well, I don't know, like I don't have the technical knowledge as a director. Like I'm not a trained director. I've just sort of learned from watching people on the job as an actor and obviously working with many directors. So when I want something, I kind of know what I want, but I don't necessarily know how to explain it properly. But I
Yeah,
can kind of speak to Kamal in my language and he knows exactly what I mean and he
yeah.
nails it.
Well, that's because he trained as an actor as well.
Yeah.
So whereas a lot of directors, they go to film school, they learn the technical side of
Mm.
it, they know what lights do what. Kamal knows how to work with actors because he was an actor.
Yeah.
He's been on both sides. So I guess yeah, you
Well,
can
that's
just
the
talk
same
to
with
him.
you, though, as well. I mean,
Well, yeah, I think that's. I don't know. I'm not so technical as Kamal. I can point a camera and press record.
yeah. No, I
Um,
know, but I mean, like for working as a director, you've been an
yeah.
actor, so you know how to direct actors.
Well, you kind of know how actors are feeling, don't you? Having been there yourself, you kind
Mm,
of know the pressures that an actor might face.
mm.
And you want to make them as comfortable as possible on set to get the best performance out of them. So yeah, I think it's very helpful. Oh, look, who's that?
No, this is Midnight. He's the one who was just on the wardrobe, and now he's in that mood. You know, when you fed them, they're like
Yeah,
gremlins, and then he's in that mood to cause.
the mischief mood.
Mm,
Yeah, I used to have a couple of cats, and I used to have like a mad half hour every day where they would
yeah,
just go bonkers.
yeah. Well, I think because the wardrobe's new in here. It's like a new novelty of something he can climb. But he climbed it yesterday and I was shooting something in here and he jumped on the wardrobe, jumped on top of the boxes that are on top of the wardrobe, and then jumped onto the curtain rail and was just walking across the curtain rail. And I was like, you've got nowhere else to go. And I don't know why you're there, but he was
Yeah,
enjoying himself.
yeah. My daughter desperately wants a cat, but we've got a dog, number one, and then she also managed to con us into getting this axolotl, which
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's in a tank, but it's quite high maintenance. I thought it was just going to be like a fish, you just put it in a tank and just kind of feed it every now and then. But this thing, you got to change the water every week. You got to feed it every couple of days. But it's very resilient because we took it on holiday with us in like a portable tank.
Oh,
And
wow.
we were dog sitting other people's houses down
Right.
in Sussex, and we couldn't get anyone in to feed it, so we took it with us. And yeah, it's very resilient. Also, one time the tank cracked
Oh,
and all the water drained out, and I woke up in the morning and I could hear this humming noise, and it was the filter going, but there was no water going into it because all the water had drained out. And I found it lying in the sand at the bottom of the tank, and I thought, oh no, it's dead.
but it wasn't.
But I picked it up and it sprang to life, and I chucked it in a bowl of water, and
I mean,
it's
are they a
fine.
pet that you can hold? Can you get them out and hold them?
Well, I mean, I don't
Are they
generally. They're kind of they're supposed to be amphibious, but
right?
I mean, it comes up for air every now and then, but it doesn't actually come out of the water. It
But I'm
just
sure
stays
I've
in the
read
water.
somewhere, like in the wild, they can change from being underwater creatures to, they can't change back and forth, but they can like
Yeah.
change and then they can be on land and then they'll live on land. Like how Ariel did in The Little Mermaid. I'm sure it's something
Yeah.
like that. I could be wrong.
Well, all I can say is it's pretty resilient because it must have survived for a couple of hours out of the water, but then when I put it
Yeah.
back in the water, it was fine.
What's it
Another,
called?
Cindy.
Cindy. But you know,
Yeah.
weirdly enough, I went to see a Reiki client earlier today, and as I was leaving, there was a woman with a Labrador, and she was like, Cindy. I'm like, that's a funny name for a dog, and that's also a funny name for an axolotl.
Yeah. Well, my cousin had a cat called Barry. So, you know, like she
I
go
used to have a
Barry.
boss. I used to have a boss who had a Labrador called William.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My friend Davina used to have one called Dave.
Dave. Oh, Dave's
Dave.
great.
Yeah,
Dave is great.
she's the girl who's got the daughter that talks to the cardboard cutout of me. But yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah, she's really cool, Dave. No, I've got Midnight and Magic, and she may make an appearance at some point. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Great fun, aren't they, pets?
They are until you need
Uh,
to go away, and then you're like, oh, I need someone to look after my pets. And I don't know
yeah.
that many people up here. So my friend, I look after his cats, and he'll look after my cats, but it means we can't ever go anywhere together.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why we ended up taking this flipping axolotl down to Sussex with us, and
that's a weird one to
you
ask
know,
somebody to look after, isn't it? Because they won't necessarily know what to do.
yeah, they'd have to pop in like every couple of
Yeah,
days.
unless you could take the
Um,
tank to their house.
oh, yeah, we did do that before actually, a few years back. So
Charlie
we've had it
Bond
about.
used to have an axolotl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she had a few.
Yeah.
I
I
feel
mean,
like one was called Elvira, Mistress of the Tank,
okay. Well,
and
that's yeah,
then she had some other ones. I don't know what they were called.
yeah. They're funny little things. They really are.
But- So,
Uh,
when did you start your journey into film? So, you started as an actor.
yeah. Well, it's kind of a weird thing that I probably told this story before, but when I left school at 16, I tried to get a job in Elstree Studios as a runner. And I went for an interview. I got an interview there and I went along. And they said to me in the interview, well, we noticed your address. You live in like Wembley. That's quite away from Elstree. Um, how did you get here? And I said, oh, my mum gave me a lift. And they were like, but your mum can't give you a lift every day to work and pick you up. And I went, yeah, I know. She just gave me a lift for the interview. So I didn't get it because they were worried that it would take me ages to get there, which is
Well,
probably
that's
right,
weird because
right
I'm
actually.
sure a lot of people don't live in Elstree that work there.
Yeah, but I guess because I was 16 and
Yeah,
maybe there's some kind of, I don't know,
yeah.
employment laws or something. I don't know. But anyway, um, so yeah, and then I tried a couple of others. There was Lee Electric Lighting that was quite near us. So I wanted to work in the film industry, but it never really happened until about I was working in a bookshop, Foyles on Charing Cross Road, and I used to go out at lunchtime to Forbidden Planet when it was on New Oxford Street, the
Hmm.
comic shop. And I just saw a sign on the door one day that said extras wanted for Star Wars film. And I thought, wow, that's really weird. And it's just a phone number. So I
Mm.
phoned the number and they said, oh, yeah, come down. And it was a studio in Ladbroke Grove. And they kind of measured me up, took some photos and whatnot, and said, oh, yeah, we'll be in touch. And then I didn't hear anything from them for about 2 weeks. And then I got a phone call out. Well, actually, I had a pager at the time,
Oh,
and I got
wow.
a message on my pager. So I went out to a phone box and dialed the number, and they said, "Well, can you come to Leavesden Studios tomorrow morning?" Now, bearing in mind I was in a job, and the job that I was in the bookshop It's kind of if you ever took any, it was a you took any time off sick, you would get sacked basically because everyone that worked there was temps, and they only
Right.
kept you working there for up to 2 years. So I just said to one of the guys I work with, "Can you just clock me in tomorrow?" Because there was a clocking in machine, and because I've got to be somewhere. And then I just went off down to Leavesden and spent a few days doing this Star Wars film. And then I got sacked when I came back. The manager called me in and sacked me, but it was a sacrifice worth making, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, how was that being on a Star Wars set?
Well, it was great. My biggest regret was that because they put your name on a list, when you drive down there, and the
Mm.
security check your name and they let you in because there was loads of photographers and whatever outside because it was the prequel. It's the first Star Wars film in like I don't know 15
Yeah.
years or whatever. Um, and I went down there and I got in. I did my filming, and then it got to the end of the week, and I was unsure if I was supposed to go in on the Friday. So I
Mm.
thought, oh, I just drive down there anyway. And I went down there and they still let me in. So my name was still on the list. They just hadn't updated the list. And I
Right.
went in. And then when I got there, I was talking to one of the ADs and they said, oh, no, we don't need you today. You can go home. And as I was going home, I saw this skip as I was going to the car park and the skip, and it had like R2D2 parts and
Wow.
alien legs and
It's
things
mad
in
what
it.
they get rid of, isn't it?
Yeah. And my biggest regret was not helping myself to that
Yes,
skip, taking a
finding a
few
leg.
bits out. Yeah. But, there you go.
That's the thing. I can imagine how much money they could get from collectors if they sold that stuff, but they do just chuck it.
I just bin it all. Yeah,
Yeah, I had a
skip it all.
friend, well, somebody I work with, a photographer, and he worked on like the first Star Wars, like the fourth one, but the first, like the old fourth
Yeah.
one. And
A
he
New
ended up with
Hope.
one of the Princess Leia costumes
No way.
that lived in his loft for years, and he got rid of it at the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's mad actually, because I was working uh this was after the Phantom Menace, but I was working at the Festival of Speed at Goodwood. They did this sort of live action wacky races, and I
Right.
was Dick Dastardly, and they
Amazing.
and they had the anthill mob, and they had these dwarfs playing the anthill mob, and
Right.
one of them, this guy called Brian, was an Ewok in Return of the Jedi, and a
Brian
Jawa.
Wheeler.
Yeah, do you know him?
Yeah, why do I know him? Maybe I think I've done a convention with him.
Oh, probably have because
Yeah,
he does a lot of conventions.
I think it might have been one at Westcliff on Sea, maybe. It,
Okay,
I think.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. No, he did when even because I worked with him a couple of years down on the Festival of Speed,
Hmm.
and he told me his main kind of uh, not his main kind of income, but I think it was pantomimes, the pantomime
Yeah.
season. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs
Hmm.
or whatever. But then he also said he did a load of conventions. He was always doing conventions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
I think it was one in somewhere near Southend, like, but yeah, Westcliff on Sea. And we had drinks like the evening before. So
yeah.
that's why I've met
Ah,
him.
small world, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I suppose anyone who's like that area, everyone knows everybody.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, isn't it? You bump into people.
Yeah.
I went to see Video Shop 2 at the Unrestricted View Film Festival.
Right.
Um, and, Lau and Alex were there. I just bumped into them. I didn't tell them I was going, just turned up because I
Yeah.
thought, it was local to me, really. I could just
Yeah.
jump on the overground and just went. But then while we were there, they showed a film beforehand called The R.I.P. Man.
Right.
And there were some actors at the bar, and I was like, "Oh, I know this guy, Owen." So I went over to him, and said, "Owen," because again we worked at Goodwood years ago,
Right.
and he was, I think he was Pat Pending or something like that in the wacky races. He was one of those. Uh, yeah, I think he was Pat Pending. Um, and I said, "Oh, Owen, what are you doing here?" And he said, "Oh, I'm in the R.I.P. Man."
No, no way.
So he's the main guy. He's like the I don't know if you call him the serial. I haven't seen the film, but the
No.
serial killer or whatever, the main character.
Hmm.
Um, but really weird that I hadn't seen him for like 10 years and then just bump into him in
Yeah.
this pub in Islington where they're showing Video Shop 2.
Have you seen it's a fake trailer, and I'm not a Jim Carrey fan. I've never liked him in anything, But there was a fake trailer where he's Dick Dastardly, and it was so good. It was an AI thing
Yeah,
though, and I thought, God, he would make a really good Dick Dastardly. Like I probably would like him in that. I used to love
yeah.
watching Wacky Races. My favorite was Penelope Pitstop and Dick Dastardly and Muttley.
Well, yeah, I have seen that. I think it got recommended to me on, you get YouTube
Yeah,
recommendations, and I remember seeing it again. Wow, that's incredible.
yeah. I feel like it should get made. Like, why wouldn't
Yeah,
he make that? People would want to see it. I
yeah,
feel
I
like
think,
Margot Robbie would make a good Penelope Pitstop.
yeah, she would. She would. Who would make a good Dick Dastardly? Someone
Hit
like,
Jim
huh?
Carrey.
Oh, Jim Carrey, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah, Jim Carrey
Jim
would be.
Carrey.
Hang on, I'm thinking of Peter Perfect. Who'd
Oh,
make a
I
good
can't.
Peter Perfect?
I don't know. Hmm. I don't know. I remember there was like a little pigeon as well, wasn't there? Or a little bird. I don't know
Yeah,
one to play the bird, but
Catch the Pigeon.
that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. So there we go. Small world.
Speaking of characters, then, like I don't know, like cartoon characters or who would you like to play if
What
you could play a
cartoon?
cartoon character,
That's a good
like in
question.
a live action?
Yeah, but that is a good one.
I don't know
I
who
don't know.
I'd just come up with that question, so I don't even have an answer
Yeah.
for myself. I don't know who I'd be.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I kind of like all that Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah.
I was watching some of it the other day because my nickname at school was Wally Gator. Have you ever seen Wally Gator?
Mm-mm.
It's basically an alligator. It's like Yogi Bear, but he's an alligator.
Oh no, I haven't seen
You know,
that one.
I think they churned out loads of these cartoons on a
Mm.
similar format in a really short space of time. And this Wally Gator came out, and we got loads of them on repeat over here, didn't we? Um,
Yeah.
um, for some reason, they must have been showing it when I was at school, and I ended up with that nickname.
Right.
So yeah, um, I don't know if I could play the. Well, I could be an alligator, I
You
suppose.
could be an alligator. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a kind of southern drawl, if I remember right. It was set in Florida, perhaps.
We were actually watching bits of Yogi Bear yesterday, funnily enough. And it was like the people that did the voices. And I'm sure like they had that and then they had a Flintstone thing. It did sound like somebody, it could be someone's done the same voice, like the same person's done the voices. I don't know if that is, but
Yeah, I reckon like the Dick Dastardly guy. I think he did loads of their
yeah,
voices. You know,
yeah.
um, and I think some of the Scooby Doo ones as well. The actors, the guy that does.
Maybe I'd want to be Velma.
Oh, Velma
Well,
would
I'd
be
want to be
brilliant.
Daphne, but I probably look more like I'd be Velma. I suppose I
Well,
could wear a ginger wig and be Daphne.
that's it.
Yeah, I would want to be Daphne.
Yeah.
She's my
Did,
favorite cartoon female.
did you ever see the live action Scooby Doo's?
Yeah, I've
I
got
think
them.
you got them. Yeah, they came
Mhm.
out. What about 20 years ago now? Is it?
It's crazy now because it doesn't feel like 20 years, but yeah, it would have been that long
Yeah,
ago. Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was great casting actually.
Yeah.
Because it was it Sarah Michelle Gellar played.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard, and Linda Cardellini.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, they're not that bad.
No,
As
I thought they were
movies.
really good. I thought they
Yeah,
really, really worked as the characters.
yeah.
I've always loved Scooby-Doo. It's always been one of my favorite cartoons.
Well, that's probably your love of horror.
Yeah,
That's
this
kind of
is
that's
it.
that's a
Scooby-Doo, Count
gateway horror.
Dracula. I used to love
Yeah.
Count Dracula. And but also I liked anything with like exploring. So I liked Tintin as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
big
Tintin's great.
big Tintin fan.
Uh,
I've got the box set.
have
Well, I've got
you?
box sets of all of them actually. I've got Tintin box set, I've got a Scooby-Doo box set, and I also have Count Dracula box set.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really love that story, Red Rackham's Treasure. You know that one,
I
the
don't know
Tintin
which is
story.
which.
I can't remember if they made it into a film or not, but it was one about a pirate treasure, and it was just
Tintin or Scooby-Doo?
Tintin,
Tintin. Oh,
and it was Captain Haddock's ancestor was
right.
like this pirate called Red Rackham, and they'd hidden like treasure maps in replicas of this ship.
They did
Um,
make a like a Tintin, didn't they? They made a Tintin film or a couple of Tintin.
yeah, with Simon Pegg was in it, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is weird casting for Tintin,
yeah, very weird.
but yeah. I
Yeah,
feel like I might need to rewatch them. I haven't. I saw them like I saw it when it came out.
Yeah, look at it with different eyes now, can't you?
Yeah.
Little time has passed.
So you were also in The Mummy, which I am so jealous of. Like, I love the Mummy films.
Yeah, I
I,
tell you what, I was only there for about, well, they called us back. I was there for about a week, and then they called us back for another few days.
mm,
Um, but I've got so many stories of being on that set because so much weird stuff happened.
weird
Um,
stuff.
well, not weird, but just so much eventful stuff happened.
Right.
So, uh, like one day I was, we were covered in this gold makeup.
Hmm.
So the first day, I mean, to start it all off, the agent phoned me and said, "Are you still bald?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm bald."
Are you still
And
bald?
she,
No, go
yeah,
back.
and she said, "Would you mind shaving your eyebrows off?" And I paused to think, and she went, £60 per eyebrow. So I went, yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely do that. And then she said, you got to
I
get,
feel like they don't pay enough for these things. Like I've been asked before to cut my hair really short, and I'm like, no, because it takes so long to grow.
well,
But
the
carry
eyebrow
on.
thing. I mean, £60 per eyebrow, 120 quid back in the late 90s. I thought, well, that's fairly decent wage. That's on top of my standard fee that I'm getting.
Yeah,
And then she said,
true.
you know, if possible, can you remove all your body hair as well? So I was like, what? Really? Okay. And anyway,
So for
so I get
people
into
watching this, you're one of Imhotep's priests.
Greece. Exactly. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and the costume was basically a loincloth, with a few other bits and pieces, bit of jewelry. Um, but yeah, so we were all there. There's about 20 of us all painted gold, these
Mm,
bald guys all look the same. And every day, they had showers there, so you could have a shower and wash all this stuff off at
get
the
rid of
end
the
of the
gold.
day. But when you've done like a 14-hour day, sometimes you just think, you know what, I'll just go home and
Yeah.
I'll
And
wash it
it's
all off.
easier to wash it off at home, isn't it? Because you're always going to miss some. If you're
Yeah.
completely covered, you will always find some like in your ear or somewhere else. And I think if you're at home, you take more time to do makeup.
Well, exactly. And you kind of feel a little bit hurried, don't you, when you're on
Hmm.
set, kind of cleaning yourself up or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I didn't bother one night and I got in my car to drive home and I realized I needed to get some petrol. So I pulled into this petrol station, got out, started filling up petrol, and I could see the guy in the booth looking at me because obviously I didn't have a hat on. I didn't have, I just had a gold bald head, but I had my regular clothes on. And then as I was filling up, another car pulled up with three of the other bald priests in it. And he got out and started filling it up, and we were talking to each other, and I could see this guy just going, "What is going on here?" So, yeah, it was weird things like that kept happening.
That's so funny. I can imagine he would probably be thinking, like, am I going mad? Am I
Yeah,
seeing things?
someone spiked my drink, and
Yeah.
then the
What's
thing
in
is
this
as well.
cup of tea?
Well, I just went up to pay, and he made no mention of it, and I made no mention of it. I just kind of handed over the money. He looked at me, handed me my change. I got back in the car. The other bald guy walked over. That's sort of British thing of not actually mentioning that there's
Yeah.
an issue here. But yeah, there we go.
I'd be like, do you know you've got gold on you?
Yeah, exactly. The weirdest thing though was like, say I got home or whatever, and I'd wash it all off,
Hmm.
and then I'd go out to the pub, and people would go, "Oh, there's something different about you. What's different about you?" Because I didn't have any eyebrows.
Eyebrows.
So
You could have got some stick-ons just for going to the
yeah,
pub.
yeah, I should have got some big sort of Dennis Healy's,
Yeah, like
big
some
bushy
caterpillars or
ones.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it'd be all right for girls because we just draw them on. I mean, mine are like pretty much drawn on anyway. I was like a 90s teen and we all overplucked and now they just don't grow. So it's pretty much have to be drawn on for the most part.
yeah. Well, I suppose there's pros and cons to that, isn't there?
Yeah, you could have drawn them on. That may have looked stranger though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there was another time I was on set with the gold makeup as well, where um, I was just kind of standing there and I felt something on my bottom, like is it like someone touching my bottom? And bearing in mind I was wearing a loincloth, and it's just like a sort of bare bottom. And I thought this is odd. What's this? Is one of the other gold priests kind of like coming on to me or whatever. And I turned around and it was a makeup lady, and she was squatting down and applying makeup to one of my arse cheeks.
But without
And
telling you first.
no, she's just doing it. This was the 90s. I think this is before
You
the
didn't
whole,
have to like warn anybody.
yeah, that's it. Just do it.
What if you'd
And
have
she said,
farted?
well, I know. Can you imagine?
Like,
Um,
like you need warning so that you don't do that.
well, she said, you're a bit smudged. Have you been leaning on the wall? And I said, well, not that I'm aware of, no. So anyway, she said, it just needs a bit of a touch up before we start filming. So
I
okay,
just
fair
need to
enough.
touch up your butt.
Yeah. So many weird things happened there. It was, there was another. We were shooting this scene, and I was mummified halfway up to my waist, or kind of up to my waist. I was
I've
mummified.
never met anyone who's been mummified before.
Yeah, it's
Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I have in
it was,
Tony Marden's film.
oh really? Uh, what was that? What film was that then?
Witches of the Sands.
Oh,
There's
of course. I was going to say, have I seen that? But of course I
no,
haven't.
there's a scene
Yeah,
where there was a mummy. You'll see it one day.
one day.
Next year, apparently.
Is that right?
Apparently. This year? No,
Oh,
next year. Maybe next year.
well, there we go. Good things come to those that wait, eh?
But carry on. You were mummified up to the
Oh
waist.
yeah, so it's mummified, and then for some reason, the director wanted to do this close up of my face, but he didn't want me in the sarcophagus that I was in.
Right.
So he said, "Can we move him over there?" And I don't know if you remember, they had the Pharaoh's guards were these massive muscle men. Yeah, like all of them were like bodybuilders that they got in.
I've seen the film like hundreds of times.
Yeah, so you know when they come in and they catch the um, what's the name, Anux on a moon, having
Uh-huh.
a bit of a dalliance with Imhotep.
Yes.
You've got these big muscular guys that come rocking in.
Hmm.
Well, anyway, two of them just came along. They picked me up like I was nothing. They just literally lifted me up like I was nothing and carried me over to this place, put me right in front of the camera. And I thought, wow, this is it. But that scene didn't even make the deleted
So
scenes on the
annoying when
DVD.
stuff like that happens.
I was like, oh, this is great. Can't wait to see this at the cinema. Me
Yeah.
screaming as I'm being mummified, full
Yeah.
on. And then yeah, it wasn't even in the deleted scenes.
Oh,
Like, oh
annoying. But it must have
yeah.
been incredible being on that set. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It was, do you know Shepperton? It's the
I know of it.
the H studio, the H
Mm.
stage. It's
Hmm.
the biggest stage in Shepperton, and they literally, the set was amazing. And funny enough, I was chatting to this guy on YouTube who was he made some of the sets for the Mummy, and
Right.
he's got his own channel talking about his experiences in the film industry.
Wow.
So I commented on there and said, "Oh yeah, I remember being blown away by the set when I walked on that H stage." And I said, and then they gave us these flaming torches to hold. We had to walk down this stairway that had no sort of edge on it. It was just a sheer drop.
Hmm.
Gave us these flaming torches. And then some guy turns up with a cage full of rats and lets these rats out. And he was like, oh yeah, oh my God, I remember the rats.
Oh my God. What if
Yeah, so they
somebody
had all
didn't
these,
like rats and then suddenly there's rats? Did they warn
well,
you?
yeah. Again, I think the 90s, it was before that kind of
Because a lot of people don't. I mean, I quite like rats, but a lot of people, most people probably don't.
yeah, I mean, I can take them or leave them. I mean, I'm not happy if there's one in
Yeah.
my kitchen. It's always a
No,
bit of an
I wouldn't
issue.
want like
But
no, I wouldn't want one in my kitchen. But if it's somebody's pet rat, I'm happy to hold it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the Mummy. I mean, it was great. Um, yeah,
Amazing.
good fun,
What
and
a
and
list
it,
of
and
what I've
I
seen.
made a lot of money from it as well.
That's always nice. It's always nice. And you've been in Good Night, Sweetheart.
Yep,
I'm
yeah,
still
that
watching
was
that too. Nicholas Lyndhurst.
that was a clip where I was a German soldier, and
Mm.
we had to. It was.
Do you
I
feel
mean, I got.
typecast? Because that's happened since then.
Yeah, you know what it was, right? I think when I was younger, there's a certain type of man that can be used for soldiers,
Mm.
mummies, all these kind of things. So
Yeah.
Star Wars, I was like a guard.
Mm,
because I was the right build, the right
mhm.
height, kind of quite non-descriptive, I guess. The Mummy, I think the bald thing probably swayed it that I got,
Right.
the Mummy. And then things like Goodnight Sweetheart and whatever, they want someone that can fit a uniform, basically.
Yeah. I used to love watching it. So it was for any, again, people that don't know, it was like set in wartime, and the present day, and he somehow traveled back. I can't remember how he traveled back in time, but he used to be able to travel back in time, and he had his wife here, but then he had a girlfriend in wartime, something like
Yeah,
that,
was
wasn't
it?
it?
Yeah, he was having an affair
He was having
basically,
an
but
affair, but with
in
somebody from
World
the past,
War
and
Two. Yeah.
yeah, he was trying to kind of.
It was just an alley, was it? He just walked down an
It was
alley.
something like
And
that,
then
wasn't it? And he
yeah,
just went back in time. I'd love to be able to do that. I wouldn't necessarily want to like go back to World War II because I wouldn't want to get bombed, but I did love the
yeah,
fashions.
yeah. Well, you should go to Goodwood Revival if you haven't
Yeah, I've
been.
never been, but I've seen it with the cars and the clothes, and I've
Yeah.
gone to the one at I can't think what it's called. There's like a another museum somewhere that's got old stuff. I think there's a Concorde there and some bits and bobs.
Oh, is
Brookfield.
that Brooklands?
That's it, Brooklands. I've been to
Brooklands, yeah,
a vintagey day there, which was
yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Goodwood Revival is if you don't dress up, you look out of place. If you
Yeah.
don't dress, and it's kind of from the 40s to the 60s, so there's
Mm.
quite a wide scope there.
Yeah, they also have one in
Um,
Norfolk and Sheringham. It's like at the
oh
train
yeah,
stations or something. So I kind of fancy that. Like maybe they might do that later this year. Go back to Norfolk for a couple of days and do the Sheringham one.
yeah. Funny enough, the guy that did the music for my films, The Numbers, Tales from the Great War, he lives in Norfolk and he always goes to that.
Yeah,
Him and his partner, they always go to it. And yeah, I think it's a 1940s weekend or something
that's
like that.
it. Yeah. Welcome back to the Screen Princess podcast. How was your break?
Great.
I literally
Great.
haven't moved. I've sat here under this blanket.
Have you? Is it absolutely freezing then?
It's freezing, and I haven't used this room today, so I didn't have the heating on in here. And then I thought by the time it heats up, I'll be leaving this room, so there's no point.
Well, we've got on our bed, we've got an electric blanket, and I kind of switch it on about an hour or so before I go to bed. And then
Yeah.
even in the living room, my son bought Tina, my wife, an electric blanket that she has downstairs as well.
Yeah, I got
So,
one for Christmas, and I can't believe I lived this long without an electric blanket in my life. It's
oh, it's
literally
incredible.
been a game changer. And my heating system is electric, so it's quite expensive to run. So if there's a day where I'm at home and I've got the heating on in all the rooms and I'm like using the dryer, I'm spending like £10 a day on heating. So the first week of January, I was spending a fortune on heating. And I was like, this is not really sustainable, like to heat all of the rooms for the whole of the winter up here. And so I've been taking my laptop to bed. So I'll get up in the morning, have a bath, put on fresh pajamas, take my laptop to bed, sit with working on my laptop and with a heated blanket on, and it saved me a fortune.
Yeah, Tina does that. She calls it the bed office.
That's what I call it, the bed office. I'm back
Oh,
in, I text my boyfriend, I'm like, I'm back in the bed office. So I actually had to go out today. So I had quite a busy day today. I had to go out and see a client for Reiki, and then I had to go see a venue for sound baths, like a new potential venue. And then I came home and literally got straight back in the bed office until
back in the bed office.
yeah, back in the bed. Great. And the cats like it because they'll behave and it's warm, so they'll sit there, and so I'm like surrounded by the cats and just doing my work.
Yeah,
I've been quite productive. Like my next job is actually to work on this film stuff. So I've got all of my other tasks ticked off now. So
yeah.
my new film idea is the next thing, which I can do from my bed. So
And
I love,
how do you like writing? Do you enjoy
yeah.
it, or do you find it a little bit laborious?
Well, no, I enjoy it when I've got my ideas together, then I enjoy doing it. Like I really like writing the dialogue for the characters and kind of coming up with the characters. And I feel like when I'm writing, I get into every character to kind of be
Yeah,
able to make them talk. So I do enjoy that, but the bit I hate is when you have to come up with an idea. So I feel like when I
yeah,
was doing horoscopes, when you're given this brief and it's like I have to come up with something that fits that, and until I get the idea together, I'm tearing my hair out. But once the
yeah. I was
idea's
the
there,
same. I was the same with Fleur de Mal, the video
mm,
shop little segment. Um, I know. I just found it quite a weird way of working because normally I'll think and think and think and think, and then I'll come up, or an idea will just pop
yeah,
out of somewhere, and then I'll go with that. But because there was it's almost like there's a pressure on you. You think, oh, I've got to do something. I've got to do something.
And you've got a time to work to. There's a schedule
Yeah,
or a deadline that's not your
yeah,
own.
yeah. It's very. I mean, it was a great experience, but I
Yeah,
found it
yeah.
just very different because I think essentially I'm very slow at stuff, so I just
Mm,
kind of take my time with things. Was a little bit rushed, I would guess. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
say la vie. It was nice to
Yeah,
be
I mean
asked.
it's nice
Yeah,
to do to see how you can work under those kinds of situations. But I mean I did writing at drama school as like a module. So we'd come in, we'd be given, a brief to write, a 5 minute script basically. And we'd have to go away and write something each week and then come back in to that lesson and then cast the other students and kind of have them
wow.
idea. And it's basically so that when it came around to doing our show reels, hopefully there was like a pool of scripts that we'd all like something in so that we,
Yeah.
we weren't recording something that's like a ready-made script. We were kind of writing and recording our own stuff. So it was good. And I didn't think I'd like writing. And then when we did that, I realized I really did. But really, the stuff that I've done is it's usually because I've had an idea and then I'm like, oh, I've got an idea, I'll write it, and then it's given me work as an actor. You're not always acting. So if you
Yeah.
can be writing your own project and then put your own project into production, that's the only reason I ended up producing and all of that. And then the directing was because MJ asked me if I'd do a piece for horoscopes, and I'd never thought about directing before. That was never on my bingo card, but I mean, I enjoyed it.
Well, I think it's like we were saying earlier. I think coming from an actor's point of view, you could probably bring quite a lot as a director
Mm.
for the actors, you know.
Yeah,
Um, and I think essentially, I essentially got into filmmaking because I was just fed up of auditioning and not getting parts
yeah,
and whatnot. And I thought, oh, well, why didn't I just write my own stuff and kind of make my own stuff,
yeah.
and then I can play whatever character I want to play, you know?
Exactly. And that's another thing because I'm going to get cast a lot in similar roles because people see you in something and the same,
Yeah,
and I've got a certain look and that's how they see me. They won't see me necessarily as something else, which is what I loved about Video Shop actually, because you cast me in a very different role for me. And I did very different things in that. I mean, uh, Michael Fausti casting me in Vergessen, that was something that, again, that was very different for me. So, I mean, I love that getting to play the different characters. But I think acting, I mean, you could spend your whole life going to auditions and getting nothing. And who has time for that? Like, people have
yeah,
to pay bills. Like, people need to have jobs that they can, pay their bills. And you can't always, just take a day off like you did because you might come back fired.
yeah,
If you're doing that for auditions. So it is difficult. I think if you don't have like a flexible, it's really elegant, that guy, isn't it? You don't have a kind of flexible side hustle or work for yourself. It's quite hard. So yeah.
I think it's really tricky. I mean, I was fortunate that when I was in London before, I'm back in London now, but
Mm.
um, I got a job working as a delivery driver for a Chinese firm in East London, and it was for a guy, the guy that ran the firm. He was a friend of the family. I'd known him for
Right.
years since I was a kid,
Hmm.
and he just said, "Oh, do you fancy working for me, delivering some fruit and veg to Chinatown and stuff?" And I was like,
Right.
"Yeah, sure." Um, but I said, I'd love to. I'm auditioning and stuff. I was kind of working as a job and actor at the time, and he said,
Yeah.
"Oh, just take the time off." He was really, really
Oh, that's
sympathetic
really,
to it.
really handy.
And I think it was because when he first arrived in the UK, he was cast in like an advert where he had to be, set in ancient China or something,
Mm.
and probably borderline racist advert. But anyway,
Yeah.
he
Yeah, but you were
he
allowed back again.
yeah, he did it and he enjoyed doing it. And
Yeah, so he didn't mind. So, he wasn't
yeah,
offended.
he was. Yeah, and actually, he told me as well when they were casting for the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. There's that scene at the beginning in Club Obi-Wan, which is like this sort of Chinese club,
Hmm.
and he said most of the people there they just put up similar to me when I saw the sign for the Star Wars. They put
Mm.
up uh, extras needed for
Yeah.
the Chinese men needed for this film,
Yeah.
and loads of them went along and did it.
Yeah. So now
Um,
it's all like agencies, isn't it? And they have, hundreds of people on their books and they can always
yeah.
fill them. But
Well, with the Star Wars one, I forgot to say as well. The only reason they put that poster on the door was because they were filming Saving Private Ryan at the same time,
Mm.
and the extra agency that they'd booked had kind of double booked. So
Right.
they got all their sort of military age men
Yeah.
in Saving Private Ryan as extras. So then they needed
Or,
to get more desperately for the
mm.
Phantom Menace. So yeah,
How do you
kind
feel
of
about, I mean, because in America, like everybody starts as an extra, like people will work as extras
yeah,
before they get into film. Like I've seen, if you've watched the Buffy the Vampire Slayer film, Ben Affleck's kind of runs off the across the screen playing basketball, and that's literally all he does. And then obviously years later, he's Batman and all of these other amazing roles, and Megan Fox is an extra, and they don't seem to look down on it. But I think in the British film industry, it's kind of looked down on. But I always think, well, look, it's a way of people making money. They're on set, they're going to learn stuff. Like,
yeah.
what's the problem? Would you rather they work in a cafe? They're probably not going to learn very much about, working on film in a cafe.
Yeah, I think there's a real snobbery about it.
Yeah.
And I think, you kind of a lot of the time treat it as just a prop that has to be fed. So it's
Yeah.
almost like
Oh, yeah,
you're
they're
looked
really rude
on.
to you.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, on the whole, I had very good experiences
Mm.
doing extra work. I didn't have that many problems, but I did hear some horror stories about people that would make eye contact with one of the actors, and then they'd be kicked off set or whatever. But you never quite
Yeah,
know
you
if
hear
that's
these
just
stories, but then also,
yeah,
like, I've worked with a lot of extras, and sometimes they are a little bit over the top. So I can maybe see
yeah,
how maybe they could get on the wrong side of somebody if they're, you know.
yeah,
So yeah, the two sides to every story, isn't there?
yeah. I mean,
So,
I had a great time on a film called Just Visiting with Jean Reno, which
mm,
was basically in this film he had to uh, pull a sword out of my scabbard. It was like a medieval type thing.
mm.
And then he runs his bride to be through with this sword, and she was played by Christina Applegate.
Wow.
And they were all really cool, really really
Mm.
nice. And I was in Jean Reno's dressing room. We were kind of
Wow.
sitting in the dressing room, just kind of hanging out. And then they gave me like a room of my own because they originally I was only supposed to be there for a week,
Mm.
and then the director was this French guy. I was just kind of I was wearing this chainmail sort of snood thing, and was just leaning against the wall. And I didn't know this was on day one. I didn't know this was the director. He comes up to me and he goes, "Oh, have you got any air under there?" And I went, "Air? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can breathe fine. It's all good." And he went, "No, not air, air." And I went, "Oh, hair?" And he went, "Yes, air." And I went, "No, no, no. I'm bald." And he went, "Oh, okay." And then he walked off. And I thought, what a weird interaction.
Or maybe he
So
wanted somebody with hair to do something.
I don't know. It was very bizarre. But then I got on set and I was just standing at the back of the set being like this formless sort of guard. And then this AD comes up to me, this American guy, and goes, "Oh, can you what are you doing for the next month?" And I went, well, not a lot really. Why? And he goes, "Well, the director wants you up there behind Jean Reno." And I was like, "What?" So anyway, I went up there, and then I realized the director was this French guy that had been talking for some reason. I don't know what it was, but so I was there for like a month
Amazing.
on set, and they used me as a photo double for someone else. They shot some
Mm.
other scenes, so they were just kind of using me for all kinds of things. But like you said, for me, it was an eye opener just seeing
Yeah.
how big budget films
Well, this is
work.
it, isn't it? I think you'll learn so much more. I did some like extra work long before I even thought about acting, as when I was still modeling. And I was a massive Buffy fan, and I ended up doing a scene in something called Free Agents with Anthony Head.
I
And
remember that.
yeah, I had to pass him a glass of champagne, and I managed not to fangirl. And he was really, really nice, and he was very, very British and very, very Gilesy, and but he
Yeah,
was sweary because he kept forgetting his lines, and then he was like swearing a lot about it, but in a funny, very British way. And
yeah,
Stephanie Beacham was also there on that shoot, and she was really nice. But it was like, it was only a couple of like supporting artists in the scene, so it was like in scenes with them, so they were chatty. It was really
yeah.
nice. And I've done one with Harry Enfield as well, a skit
Oh,
with
what?
Harry Enfield, and I was in a girl in the gym, but I was very young at the time, and I'd never been in the gym because I was skinny, and I didn't have to go to the gym at the time to be skinny when I was like back in my I don't know, early 20s modeling, and he was really nice and also very well
Yeah,
spoken, and he had to teach me actually how to use the step machine thing because I was like, I don't
yeah.
really know what I'm meant to be doing on this. So yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I think it's a really good. I don't know why there's so much snobbery about it,
No. You
and I,
learn so much
you
about
know,
like the camera angles and who does what on a set. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I mean, the
absolutely,
phrases that people use, like checking the gate and all of these things, like
yeah,
that, you know, you wouldn't learn otherwise, I guess. So
no,
I don't think there's a problem with it. And they always say, oh, yeah, but directors will only ever see you as an extra. They don't see, they're never going to remember
no,
me as an
no,
extra. They're never going to have
no.
paid that much attention, you know?
Well,
So,
there's a funny thing. My neighbour lives a few doors up. Um, he had some like fairly decent TV roles years ago.
mhm.
He was in Alfie the Zane Pet. He
Oh,
was in
wow.
Grain, did like 4 episodes of Grange Hill. He was in Sharp. He's done a load of things, but he told
Right.
me he was doing something. He was filming, and he said it was mostly background stuff. And they used him in about 4 different scenes in different places. And then on about the fourth scene, the director went, "Wait a minute, this guy's in every fucking scene. Get him out of the scene." So
That's not his fault, though. That's the ADs or whoever's put him there
what exactly? Yeah, and he said it was just hilarious because he'd managed to
to
be
get
in
in
all these
everything.
different scenes
Yeah.
without being noticed. So, like you said, it's very the director's not going to remember unless you do something really
No, like on
stupid.
the day, but he won't remember you tomorrow, you know, or like
Yeah,
by the time he's on his next project, he's not gonna remember
yeah.
you.
Can you imagine a director filming who's shooting a film that's like $20 million? They've got so much stuff going around in their
Yeah.
head. They're not going to pay attention to you as an extra. They don't
No,
care, do they?
no,
Yeah.
not at all. Not at all. So how did you end up doing so much horror? I mean, you haven't really set out to do just horror, but I've been looking through your credits and there's a lot of horror. Was that on purpose or is it just how it's gone?
I think it's just been a bit organic, really.
Yeah.
Um, the when I was talking about making films, the first film we made, it was me and some friends. A film called Syrup, short film that we shot on 16 mil,
Mm.
only 5 minute long. But again, that cost like £1,000. The budget on it was £1,000 back in the
Yeah.
year 2000. But all of that money went on the film stock and getting the film stock
Yeah.
processed as well.
Yeah, so you can do it
Um,
cheaper now because you don't
yeah,
need to shoot on film.
because you don't need to shoot on film. And that was, I mean, I wrote the script. My mate Richard, who we kind of formed Chow Handy together,
Mm.
um, he wanted to direct something, and he said, "Have you got any scripts?" And I said, "Yeah, I've written this one." And he liked it, and he had a friend who had like a 16 mil camera. So he kind of got it all up and running. He got someone to bankroll it. He knew someone
Right.
that was like an accountant, and they said, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
I'll give you £1,000." So he really pulled it together. Um, and I didn't really think of it as a horror film. It was
Mhm.
about a serial killer who's obsessed by hair. Uh, but I didn't really think of it as a horror film. But he submitted it to this horror film festival that was on at the ICA in central London, Pall Mall, the Institute of Contemporary Arts, and it was accepted and it was shown as part of their late night horror
Oh,
program.
wow.
Um,
That was amazing for your
so,
first short to
well,
get.
you know what? Yeah, I thought, well, this is easy, isn't it? We made this short. Someone paid for it.
Yeah.
It's been screened in Cinema One, the biggest cinema in the ICA, to a packed audience.
Hmm.
I thought, well, this is easy, this filmmaking luck. It
Yeah,
was all
I was
downhill
lucky with
from
my
there.
my first feature. I had no clue really what I was doing and managed to get an investor to fully fund it with a proper, well, not like for low budget money. I think it was around about 100,000. But he with it came a lot of like he had his crew that
Yeah.
had to pay that part of the budget too, and actors he knew that we had to pay this, so we didn't end up with and losing a lot of creative control. But I did think, oh, to get the funding wasn't that hard. I mean, I literally went into a couple of meetings. He asked if I could do a budget. I had no clue what I was doing there either, but I managed to do a budget and I got the funding. But it's never been that easy since.
Well, this is it. It kind of sets a false expectation, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
I came out of that and I was like, oh, this is just bonkers, like we're in central London, Pall Mall,
Mm,
full packed screening room. Um, he said like we were the audience favorite or something like that. It
mm,
was great, and I thought, well, this is brilliant. But then, yeah, it was all downhill from there.
yeah. But we have fun and we get to go to horror on
We're
sea and we work with nice people. And people always say,
exactly,
like, what's your favorite thing about horror? I'm like, the people. They're not
yeah,
really horrifying. They're all very nice.
yeah. And in fact, actually, the more horrifying their films are, the nicer they seem to
Yeah.
be. Because I
Yeah.
work with,
And you're
with,
like,
with
so what is wrong with you to have written that?
yeah. Have you worked with Baz Hancher?
I haven't, no. But
Because
I saw
him,
that
I
his
mean, his
film got really good reviews from Horror on Sea. Darren
yeah, his
Watson was a big fan.
yeah. I mean, his films are really kind of graphic,
I
really,
saw
you know,
part of one, maybe at the last Horror on Sea. I don't think I watched all of it. I never managed to. I think it's too much excitement there, and I can never really sit through films.
yeah,
I I can't concentrate, and sometimes it's like maybe too much. There's too many of them to watch. So I think I saw part of one of them, and I can't remember which one it was.
yeah. But him and all his kind of White Raven team.
Mm.
Michael's a kind of uh, shadowy figure that's in the background, but then you've got James as well, who's lovely, James Underwood.
Hmm.
Um, they're all just such nice guys, and they
Yeah,
make these films that are quite dark and whatever, but they're
yeah.
just lovely, lovely, welcoming guys.
Yeah, James is like the brightest character, not just his hair. Like
Yeah,
he's just walks into a room and is bright.
yeah.
We were actually sat at Romford and we were all kind of working out what animals would be because somebody had said that Tom Lee Rutter looked like a red panda, which you can't unsee once you've
Oh
seen
no.
it. And we were deciding which animals people would be. And he was a kangaroo, James. We decided he was a
Uh,
kangaroo. So he really reminds me of a
yeah,
kangaroo. He was bouncy.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I can't
yeah.
remember. I don't think I got an animal in the end. I don't think anyone could work out what I would be.
Oh, okay. Well, what would you say yourself if
I
you had
don't
to?
know. I don't know.
Anna,
When
Anna.
you do the whole animal thing at drama school, I was a cat,
Uh,
so
yeah,
possibly I like to laze
yeah,
around. Maybe a cat.
yeah. You're quite feline, the way
Yeah,
that you hold yourself, I would
maybe.
say. Yeah.
Maybe. But I don't jump on my wardrobes and knock my plants over. And the other day, in one fell swoop, I heard a crash in the kitchen. I went in, my cup of tea was knocked over, so the tea was all over the counter. He'd smashed a 1970s glass, so that's older than me, that I had some plants propagating in it on the windowsill. So that was smashed. The plants were broken. I'm like, how have you done this and why? And he didn't care.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't be
yeah,
a naughty cat. I'd be more like a lazy like stroke me and pamper me cat.
yeah.
I'd be that one. I would be that one. So I'm going to look on my next page of questions because otherwise we're going to end up gossiping again and not getting through the questions.
I
And
know,
so
I
your
know.
films, the ones that you've actually written and produced, there's quite a war theme going on there.
Yeah.
Is that an interest in general, or is
Well,
it just for those particular films?
well, the numbers was, I suppose, the first big one I did, but
Mm,
was at Horror on Sea, funny enough. And again, it was one of those things that I really thought, because I've been to loads of film festivals after the ICA highlight,
mm,
that you go to, and there's about two people in the room watching your
mhm,
film, and you're like,
mhm.
oh, okay. So I kind of thought, because I didn't really know Horror on Sea, I kind of thought it might be like that.
Right.
And it was at the 10 a.m. slot on a Saturday, and I thought, well, no one's going to be there for that. And I was
Mhm.
actually really surprised when we went down and we went in and we were like, oh, well, this is a fairly decent turnout.
Yeah.
So we made that film, and that was like it's set over different time periods, so kind of messing around with the time a little bit. And I mean, shortly after that was released, I was quite ill for a bit,
Mm.
so I was in hospital for quite a lot, and then when I was released from hospital, they gave me this big bottle of morphine, this like liquid morphine. And while I was in hospital, I was thinking about the story set in World War One, and I'd always wanted to make like a sort of World War One film because
Mm.
I feel like World War One is almost like the official end of the Victorian era, even though
Mm.
Victoria died in 1901.
1901.
The kind of morals and standards of the Victorian era went on
Yeah.
up until World War One, and then World War One, you have this massive shift where empires collapse,
Mm.
women get the vote, workers get more rights, medicine improves. You get this massive cultural shift because of that war.
Mm,
And so I've always been fascinated by it, that, the 20th century doesn't really start with World War One and this mechanized warfare.
mm,
Um, so, yeah, I wanted to do something about it. And then when they discharged me and I had this morphine, I knocked the script out in like 2 days. I just kind of went, right, sit down and just type away,
yeah,
because I'd already thought of the stories in my
yeah.
head while I was in hospital. So, yeah, I don't know if it was the morphine or whatever it was, but the interest in World War One, and I really like. There's a book by a Welsh writer called Arthur Machen, and it's called The Bowman, and it's kind of legends from World War One, where
Mm,
I think men in the war zone under extreme stress would hallucinate different things. So
right.
you had the angel of Mons, so people thought they saw an angel,
Hmm.
kind of guiding them to war. And then there was other things like the bowmen, these sort of legendary Agincourt bowmen that just appeared on the battlefield in France.
Mm,
So there was a lot of weird stuff about it. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'd like to write something like that.
mm.
And then that just kind of happened.
Yeah, so it's Tales from the Great War, but then you also did
Yeah.
another Tale from the Great War for Video Shop too.
Oh, the Beast of No Man's
The
Land.
Beast of No Man's Land, yeah.
Yeah. So again, there was a lot of stuff that, because of budget constraints and
Yeah.
whatever, I couldn't do Tales from the Great War as much as I wanted to. There was a couple of stories that I had to cut out of it.
Mm,
So I kind of wanted a backstory for the beast is in that beast from the Beast of No Man's
mm,
Land is the beast that's in Tales from the
hmm.
Great War. And it was kind of like a backstory to that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And it
Great.
was
It was really well
basically,
shot. Did Kamal shoot that?
yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's
Yeah.
also in it.
Yeah, he's in it as well. He he
Yes.
he reprises his character from Tales from the Great War,
Yeah.
because I don't know if you've seen Tales from the Great War,
Yeah.
but
I sat next to Kamal, I think. And you may
did
have been
you?
on the other side of him at the
Oh yeah,
funeral.
because
Yeah.
he's got that role where he has to basically poo everywhere, hasn't
Yes.
he? Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, I'd never met Kamal before the day of filming.
Right.
We'd just spoken on social media, and he liked the script, and I thought, well,
Mm.
it's a bit of a weird script, because this guy is basically pooing in places. And he really threw himself into it.
Yeah.
I couldn't have wished for anyone better,
Yeah.
because he absolutely, there was
Yeah.
no holds
There's
barred.
definitely one to where can people watch it now? Can they?
It's on Amazon.
It's on
I
Amazon.
think, yeah, it's the only place it's on.
Right.
Um, but yeah, yeah, no, he really threw himself into that. But the weird thing is, though, Danny, it's like no one ever asked me about why I wrote that, and I always think, it's quite weird that there's this story where this guy's shitting everywhere, but no one
Why
ever
did
goes,
you
well,
write it?
well, you know what? It came from years ago. I had this book on World War One,
Right.
and I remember reading about it, and it was from a French soldier, a quote, and he said, "We sleep next to the dead, we eat next to the dead, we relieve ourselves next to the dead."
Mm.
And I thought, oh, that's really grim. They've got dead bodies around, and they're doing all this
Mhm.
stuff, and they've got to do the mundane things that we do next to sort of dead bodies.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuck with me for a bit. And then when I started working in schools, I worked in this school, and some kid went into the headmaster's office and did a shit on his desk. And and, afterwards, people were trying to deconstruct it, psychologists and whatever, and they said, well, this kid was from an abused household, and apparently, like, smearing shit is like a way of dealing with the process of abuse and stuff like that.
Right.
And they reckon that this kid shitting on the head teacher's desk was a way of him trying to assert some kind of control in his life.
Okay.
Um, so then that made me think, yeah, okay, well, if someone's in a traumatic situation, like they're in a war zone, how could we take that even further?
Right.
And then the main bit of the story came from, I worked with this guy in an office years ago. When I was about 18, I was working in an office, and there was a guy there that had done national service.
Mm.
And he told me that he was out in Egypt or whatever, and that one day they went into the games room, and there was like a turd on the snooker table, and someone had chalked next to it, the Phantom Shitehawk was here, and apparently these turds kept showing up everywhere with this thing scrawled next to it. The Phantom Shitehawk was here,
How
and they said
bizarre.
they never found out who did it. The person never admitted it. So again, I thought that's a really funny story that someone's just doing that. I mean,
That's so gross, though.
it's really gross. It's really gross. But it's that kind of thing of a bunch of blokes together that end up just Lord of the Flies type stuff, where they just start getting a bit animalistic. And I just thought, what is happening there?
Yeah,
So then all of that was in my head, and that's why I wrote it. Basically, I thought this is his way of dealing with the trauma of
yeah,
war and getting his own back
yeah.
on the officers or whatever, is that he left these little presents everywhere. And Kamal did it beautifully.
He did. He did. And
So
you
anyway,
were,
yeah, I probably need to see a psychiatrist after this,
yeah.
don't I?
Yeah, possibly. Do you think, because you obviously do work in schools as well, and I don't know if this is a thing. I don't know what you think about this. I may have said this to Horror and See. There are so many people in the horror world that actually work as teachers or in schools. Do you think there's like some weird correlation between that?
Yeah, well, I think everyone I've met, well, most people I've met there, they're either work in schools, teachers or whatever, or they work in care, for the NHS and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, it does make me wonder that there must be. I think a lot of it is you get a lot of holidays, so you have time.
there is that.
A 6 week holiday, you've got time to make a film essentially
Mm,
in 6 weeks. Um, and maybe it's just because teachers are frustrated because they want to be doing, they're frustrated filmmakers or they're frustrated
yeah.
actors or whatever, and this is their kind of outlet,
Yeah, it
you
just
know?
seems like there's a lot of people that work in horror and teach. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people that do other, people who make other types of film as well, but it just seems like there's a lot.
Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, I'd agree. I'd say the ratio, and I think we did talk about this before, it does
Yeah, I think
seem
we did.
proportionally high, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For such a small kind of network.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it's just like the UK independent industry, which is very small compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's something to do with if you work with kids, you kind of how to organize people.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
you got to get 30 kids doing something that they don't want to do. Is that any different to trying to get actors to do stuff? I don't know.
Yeah. Have you ever had to ask an actor to do anything difficult
Well, there was, yeah,
apart
Kamal's
from
scene.
Kamal pooping?
I think not really, because I'm I think again because I've been an actor, I don't
Yeah.
want to put someone in an awkward position.
Yeah.
Um,
I always feel
I
like I won't write anything for somebody else to do that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. And then I'll often take that for my character. Because if I,
yeah,
like in Bad Moon Rising, there was like the hypnol scene on the pool table. And I could have given it to one of the other girls because it's awkward, but I was like, I'll do it. I'll have
yeah.
the scene.
I
But just
think
because I
that's
didn't want
it.
to ask anybody else to do it.
Yeah, but I think that's really good of you, and I kind of think the same way that I don't want to ask anyone to do something that I wouldn't do myself.
Mm.
Um, I wouldn't write a sex scene for myself.
No,
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't.
write a sex scene for someone else to do.
I appreciate
I
it if no
think,
one else writes them for me as well.
yeah, I just think,
Yeah.
I guess you could argue, well, no, it is, maybe you've got a script and it's fundamentally important. But again, it's like
Yeah.
with nudity. I think if if it's absolutely necessary,
Yeah.
yes. But otherwise, do you need it really?
Well, I feel like
You know
I'm
what
a
I
bit
mean?
older now, so I should get asked less for things like that.
Does it happen still though? Do you still get a lot of people
Yeah.
asking you? Yeah,
Yeah, like the last film I did, and it's my fault for not really reading the script properly until I got there. That there's just a completely pointless topless scene. Like
yeah,
I was in a sauna, but I just happened to drop my towel and I was like, this is so pointless. It's completely gratuitous. It's like it's unnecessary. I know, like, yes, it'll get people watching, and I know, like, and I've seen reviews before where like Danny didn't. There's like topless girls in this film, why? And it was actually um a serial caller. So it was one I'd written, and there were a couple of topless girls who were glamour models anyway, but I kept my clothes on, and then people complained. But
yeah,
I mean, I was also a lot younger then. I think, yeah, now I just want to keep my clothes on.
yeah. I think if you don't feel comfortable, then
I
you
don't
know
mind if it's necessary,
if it's yeah, that's it.
you know, but
I,
yeah.
I mean, I did plays when I was in my 20s where uh, it'd either be like semi-nude or whatever. I might be in
Mhm.
my underwear or something like that.
Yeah.
And again, I was
I
in my
don't mind being in my
20s.
underwear.
I was a bit younger. I was a bit more comfortable, and then there might be scenes on stage that you would do, and I was fine with those. But I don't know. I just yeah. Now I just feel again as well as a man of my age, I'd feel really creepy directing younger women in scenes
Yes.
like that. I just
Yeah.
I just, especially as a teacher as well, it's not something that I would, I
No.
just find it's just a weird thing. So
Yeah.
I know other people are fine with it, but not me.
Yeah. I think it depends on the script. It depends on the film. It
Yeah,
depends what whether it's actually necessary or not.
yeah,
And if it's
yeah,
not, then it doesn't need to be in there. So, yeah.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't come into my mind if I was writing. I don't think, oh yeah, I need to have a
No,
sex scene.
and I think
That's,
a lot of the time it can be kind of implied.
yeah,
So, or like you go to it and then it cuts to something else. And people
yeah,
can use their
exactly.
imagination. I think it's good to make people use their imagination when they're watching something as well.
Yeah,
Like, when you read a book, you have to use imagination. I think film shouldn't give you everything.
yeah. Have you noticed those weird trends that seems to be happening? And I think it's to do with people watching films but being on their devices. So now everything is sort of explained. So whereas before you might have had someone get up and leave a room, now they go, I'm going to leave now.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
they exit,
yeah.
or I saw one the other day, I was watching some TV show and this guy fell down the stairs and sort of broke his neck. So he was obviously dead. And then someone walks over and goes, he's dead. And
Yeah,
I think it's because people now watch films, but they're also on their phones, so
yeah.
they need to
We've
kind of spell it out.
banned having our phones. So if we put a film on, we're now not allowed to touch our phones unless it's like if there's an actor or something, we're like, oh, I've seen him in something, we're allowed to quickly check. But that then we have to
Yeah,
put the phone back down. We're not allowed to, sit and I'm terrible for it because I always have my phone in my hand. And
yeah,
then I think I don't need to. I can part with it. I feel like people will soon be born with like screens attached to
yeah.
them, but no, we've banned phones whilst watching movies.
Well, maybe the younger generation will reject phones. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll go, oh look, who's
Oh,
this? Is
this is
this
midnight again. Magic hasn't come
midnight
to
again?
visit while we've been in here. Yeah, it's midnight again.
Yeah.
He hasn't started purring, so he's got the loudest purr you've ever heard. And he always had, even when he was a tiny kitten, I've never heard a cat that sounds like him. And
Wow.
sometimes he sleeps here, like we get in bed and he has a cuddle, and then I'm like, I can't sleep, you're too loud. It's like having somebody snoring, but it's a cat purring. But it does happen. So
Yeah.
you've just filmed Echoes of Him, which was
Yeah.
another Kamal DOP'd, but Alex Nathan Woods wrote it. So
Yeah.
was that a first feature for him?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So he was in Tales from the Great War as
Hmm.
well, Alex, and
Yeah.
yeah, really interesting script. And I think
Mm.
they're planning like a few films. They're planning
Right.
to work together, writer director relationship.
Amazing.
And what's really weird as well, and I said this to Kamal, was that before I knew him, I kind of knew of him because
Mm.
I'm like a real YouTube addict and I watch loads of stuff on
Right.
YouTube. And I saw something that he did on YouTube way back in like 2009, I think it was.
Mm.
And I remember writing to him and saying, well, if you get any parts come up, I'd love to be in one of
Mm.
your films. And he graciously responded. He didn't blank me or anything. He just said, oh, okay, I'll bear you in mind or something like that. And then that was it. Didn't hear anything. And then when we started getting in contact just before Tales from the Great War, I was
Mm.
like, oh, I remember the name because it's a quite distinctive name.
Hmm.
Kamal Yildirim, you don't
Hmm.
see that a lot
No.
within the indie film industry. Um, so I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I remember this. So anyway, we ended up working together, but with me as the director and him as the actor.
Mm.
So Echoes of Him was really nice because it's me as an actor, him as
Yes.
director. So I
Well,
thought after all this time,
yeah.
I've ended up now working with him, and it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Will that be Horror on Sea next year?
I don't know, I think that when I saw Kamal at Hornsey and he said they were in post with that.
Right, so should be.
Um,
He's very quick
yeah,
with his editing.
yeah, he's really quick. Um, and I think, yeah, I mean, I've got a feeling they may try and get it into other festivals, so
Right.
perhaps this year before
Mm,
next January. Whether it'll show at Hornsey or not, I don't know. But I just the vibe I was getting from chatting with him was
they want to do
perhaps
something quicker.
they're going to maybe get something out in the summer,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Well,
Yeah.
Andy, we are out of time. This has
Oh,
flown by. I've had quick fire rounds and all sorts for you, and we're just run out of time. So we might have to come back
oh,
another day after your next film, come back and
yeah. Well, get Kamal on. Get Kamal and
yeah,
Alex on to talk about
yeah,
Echoes. And
yeah. I
yeah,
had him like as an early podcast guest, so I was thinking about inviting him back actually because I'm sure he's done loads since.
yeah.
But
Well, yeah. He's a busy guy.
yes. Well, you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will send you a link when this is released. It will be. Well, it might actually be next week or the week after.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks for having me on. It's
Thank
been
you
fab.
for giving up your time and chatting to me.
Well, the time has flown, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. I'm going to go
Um,
and pour a glass of Prosecco now.
oh, well, there you go.